What does it take to become a Universe Venerable? Today, we're uncovering the haunting backstories of 5 Universe Venerables from Swallowed Star. Beings who've lived for hundreds of millions of years, building their legends on sacrifice, slaughter, and unimaginable willpower. These survivors carry scars that would break lesser beings. Let's dive in. Lord of Ganwu, the Indebted Guardian. Imagine this. You're the supreme ruler of an entire universe country. Hundreds of billions of civilizations depend on you, and you're drowning in debt. The Lord of Ganwu became the only Universe Venerable in Ganwu Universe Country, one guardian protecting over 13,000 star fields and 100 million galaxies. But even Universe Venerables can die. And he did, 3 times. Each time, the human race resurrected him at astronomical cost. But here's the devastating part. When he died, he lost borrowed treasures. 6 Universe Venerables had lent him powerful arcana worth 1.6 arcana points to help defend his territory. When he died, those treasures were destroyed forever. The Lord of Ganwu suddenly owed 3.8 arcana points, a debt so massive even Universe Venerables would pale. Most immortals need billions of years to accumulate a fraction of that wealth. An arcana point is exponentially more valuable than anything imaginable. Yet he never complained. For eons, he protected his universe country, trained geniuses, built his dojo, all while crushed under impossible debt. Then Luo Feng emerged. The Lord of Ganwu protected the Luo family, taking Luo Hai as his disciple, never asking for anything. When Luo Feng discovered his crushing debt, he lent the arcana points needed to free him. After eons of servitude to debt, freedom finally came. When Luo Feng gained his godly palace, the Lord of Ganwu became one of his subordinates. Some might see this as demotion from ruler to subordinate, but for him, it was liberation from isolation and burden. His story teaches us, true strength is enduring when the universe crushes you while still protecting the others. From a guardian crushed by duty to a being defined by slaughter. Venerable Youmo, the god of death. Venerable Youmo, the bloody legend, the god of death, an ugly life form covered in black scales. Black horns, his right claw terrifyingly sharp, capable of tearing through divine bodies. This isn't what he was born as. This is what he became. Venerable Youmo created a technique specifically to morph his body into the best killing construct possible. Not to become stronger, generally, to turn himself into a weapon. The technique changed him fundamentally. Every aspect optimized for one purpose, ending lives. And he did, for potentially hundreds of millions of years, building his name entirely on body count. Within the virtual universe company, they call him the god of death. Even Venerable Fire Erosion, a peerless genius, gives him respect. Other Universe Venerables stay wary. Most Universe Venerables focus on law comprehension and divine techniques. Venerable Youmo focused on one thing, killing you faster, more efficiently, more brutally. When he attacks, it's not a battle. It's an execution, yet despite his blood-soaked reputation, he serves the virtual universe company and protects humanity. He fulfills his duties. Here's the theory. Venerable Youmo witnessed talented cultivators dying because they weren't ruthless enough. He realized that in the brutal cosmic hierarchy, mercy gets you killed. So he chose. He would never hesitate, never be anything less than a perfect killing machine. Over eons, that choice consumed him, transformed him into exactly what he intended. The tragedy isn't that he became a monster, it's that he chose to, and survival probably made it the right choice. But does he remember who he was before? Or is he so far gone he doesn't even care? That's the real horror. From someone who chose to become a weapon to someone who chose eternal service. Venerable Gui Yi, the eternal servant. You work for billions of years. You break through to Universe Overlord, where you could rule galaxies. And you spend that power running errands. Venerable Gui Yi, second disciple of the Primal Chaos city leader. Despite Universe Overlord's strength, despite proficiency in illusion and close combat, he never accumulated personal power. He doesn't even own a soul-type arcana, a basic defensive treasure most Universe Venerables possess. Everything went towards serving his master. He became the mouth and tongue of the primal chaos city leader, delivering messages to supreme beings, executing orders across the cosmos. Always ready, always loyal, he had talent to become a legendary figure. Instead, he chose to be a messenger. When the original stars were opening, a cosmic event once in billions of years, he had to borrow a soul-type arcana from Luo Feng, a much younger cultivator. He had resources, but never kept what he personally needed. Nobody knows his name. Nobody tells legends about Venerable Gui Yi. He's forever in the background, forever forgotten. Yet maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he found peace serving something greater. In a universe obsessed with personal power, Venerable Gui Yi represents contentment in service. His tragedy isn't forced servitude, it's that he chose it freely and the cosmos barely noticed. Speaking of being barely noticed, let's discuss the man who hosted the greatest genius competition, Venerable Nine Swords, the ancient competitor. Venerable Nine Swords, who hosted Luo Feng's pinnacle genius battle, wasn't always a host. Hundreds of thousands of eras ago, he was a participant, this ancient being commanding over 50 immortal kings. He was once a stellar-level genius. Through hundreds of thousands of eras, he reached Universe Venerable. Now he hosts the same competition he once fought in, knowing most participants will fail. But despite his ancient status, he's not satisfied. When Luo Feng, a newly advanced immortal, received permission to build his palace on Thunder Island's mountainside, Venerable Nine Swords was discontented. After hundreds of thousands of eras at the peak, he still felt slighted. This reveals something tragic. The competition never stops. Even after reaching what should be the pinnacle, there's still jealousy and resentment. Later, he asked to borrow arcana from Luo Feng, acknowledging this young upstart already surpassed him in wealth and opportunity. What makes his story melancholic is time's passage. The universe keeps producing younger, more talented cultivators, surpassing in decades what took him hundreds of thousands of eras. And he has to watch it happen, has to host the competitions while knowing his era is passing. When enemies targeted Luo Feng, Nine Swords learned this immortal was already more threatening than most Universe Venerables. After hundreds of thousands of eras, eclipsed by someone barely a fraction of his age, yet he kept serving, training the next generation. His story reminds us, cultivation isn't just reaching the peak, it's what you do when younger climbers keep passing you. And finally, the hammer-wielding giant whose tragedy is being forgotten. Venerable Thunder, the forgotten giant. 8 meters tall, massive arms, black armor, wielding a hammer that could flatten mountains. Venerable Thunder should be a legend, but do you know his story? Neither does anyone else. That's the tragedy. Venerable Thunder is a powerful universe, venerable with a palace on Thunder Island's mountainside, reserved for the elite. He's lived for untold eons, witnessed countless civilizations rise and fall, and the only time anyone mentions him is when he complained about Luo Feng. When Luo Feng was granted his palace, Venerable Thunder was discontented. But here's what breaks my heart. We don't know anything else about him. This being has lived for potentially hundreds of millions of years. He's fought in cosmic wars, comprehended reality-shattering laws, wielded his hammer through galaxy-shaping battles. And all we know is he was upset about real estate. Venerable Thunder represents every cultivator who did everything right, but never achieved legendary status. He reached Universe Venerable, what 99.999% never achieved. He's objectively one of the strongest beings in existence. But he's not the strongest. He's powerful, impressive, but ultimately forgettable. Imagine living hundreds of millions of years realizing your background scenery in someone else's story. No unique techniques, no legendary battles, no disciples who shook the cosmos. The discontentment wasn't just about territory, it was about being overlooked. This young cultivator receiving special attention and recognition he never received despite eons of service. That's cultivation's cruelest fate. Not failure, failure is memorable, but success that still isn't enough to matter. Venerable Thunder stands wielding his hammer, a monument to power nobody remembers. Every time a younger genius surpasses him, he feels it, and all he can do is continue, living his quiet, powerful, tragic life. 5 Universe Venerables. 5 paths to cosmic power. The Lord of Ganwu, crushed by debt but never abandoning duty. Venerable Youmo, who became a weapon. Venerable Gui Yi, who sacrificed everything for loyalty. Venerable Nine Swords, watching younger generations eclipse him. Venerable Thunder, forgotten despite reaching the peak. These aren't just backstories, they're warnings. Reaching the peak doesn't guarantee happiness or meaning, but they show us perseverance, the will to keep going when the universe gives every reason to quit. That's the real power of a Universe Venerable. What do you think? Drop your thoughts below. Give me that like button and subscribe for more Swallowed Star content. Until then, keep cultivating, and remember, even at the peak, the journey never ends. Peace out,